Guys, launched in 2021. Today, he helps over 320 individual developers monetize their 1,400 games. He helped them process 20 to $30 million of ad revenue over the past 12 months, of which he keeps 8 to 12%. So call it a $2 million run rate for the business. That's up over 100% year over year since last year. And they're bootstrapped, which we love. He's targeting $1 million in revenue per employee, which we certainly hope he hits. The company's called appbroda.com. Hey, folks, my guest today is Ashish Agarwal. He's worked 10 years in digital with 5 years at Google across Play and AdMob, and then fell in love with the app gaming publishing world. He had no clue that it's a $20 billion industry with 2 million folks creating amazing games and apps. Since then, he's launched appbroda.com, which helps you become your AdOps or is your AdOps expert. Ashish, you ready to take us to the top?
Yeah, absolutely, Nathan. Very excited. Big fan of what you do, both with the podcast and, of course, your company. So really excited to kick this off.
Well, so you know all the questions, right? So what are you guys at right now in terms of revenue? Let's just start with the big one.
We can't disclose exact figures, but it's we're just about 20 months old, and we're between the $0 and $5 million revenue range already.
Okay, great.
Just to give you, we're bootstrapped. We haven't raised any round of funding.
And when did you guys launch? What year?
We launched in 2021, right in the middle of the pandemic. June 2021 is when we got started.
It's a hell of a time to. It's a hell of a time to launch.
Yeah, hell of a time to launch, but honestly, like unfortunately, it worked in our favor because all of our customers were based in Europe and USA and different parts of the world, and reaching them was easier because of everything was digital, right? Earlier you had to take a flight from we're based in Dubai in India. You would have to take a flight to meet your customers, but that's not the case anymore. So kind of worked in our favor there.
Now, before we talk about your product, you mentioned in your bio that your goal is to hit 1 million in revenue per employee by 2026. That's how I know you listen to the show, because it's one of my favorite metrics. What's your revenue per employee today?
Yeah. I think that'll be a bit of a giveaway, but I think we're about anywhere between 20 to 50x away from that.
Okay, and how do you plan for that, right? How do you get your team focused on that number? It's not a traditional business metric. They might go, Ashish, why are we optimizing for revenue per employee?
Right. Yeah. No, I think that's a great question. I think we've inbuilt in our DNA the sense of a big revenue goal, but also being profitable from day one, right? Being bootstrapped, not looking for VC funding at the time when everyone was getting VC funding very easily in countries like Southeast Asia and India. We built it profitably. So I think from day one, whoever's joined us, it's a natural question when you join a startup. Are you guys raising funding? Have you raised funding? Do you plan to raise funding? And our answer is no. We think that as a SaaS company, we can be profitable. We've done the math. We're in an industry which is really large, $20 billion, as you said at the top. And we think that because we've been profitable and we've still been more service than product till now, we think that we're going to get better at profitability, right? So that's kind of
in the last 12 months, what was the revenue split between service and SaaS, like percentage wise?
Yeah, I think the last 12 months, it's skewed towards service. But in the last 6 months, it's 80% product and 20% service.
Okay, got it. Last 6 months, 80% product. Okay. Yeah. And then I guess talk to me a little bit more about what the product does, right? What are customers paying you for today?
Yeah. So I think just a little background, right? So for everyone, it's a very large industry, but it's sort of niche in terms of knowledge. Ad networks have been around for a while. These ad networks, like 4 or 5 of them, like Google, Meta, Iron Source, AppLovin, etc., they fuel the entire content and gaming industry to a large extent, more than people realize, right? The ads you see on your phone. Now, these tools enable the content creation. There are about 2 million developers globally that actually participate in this industry by creating content. And the way they make money, the way they can fuel it back into creating more content is through ads. Now, the top 4 guys in this industry, the ones I mentioned, they only have sales or service teams that cater to the top 2 or 3% of developers, right? And this is not an 80-20 industry. What I mean by that, it's not that 80% of the revenue is controlled by 20% of the developers. It's more of 40-40-20. 40% of the revenue is controlled by the top, but the remaining 60% is split between small and medium-sized developers, right? And there's a very large knowledge gap on how best to utilize the tools in this industry to maximize your revenue from your app. So what we want to do as Abroda is we want to become a platform where you just self-serve, you come, you log in, you have an app, you have a game, whatever you have, and you understand how best to use these products to reach from like a noob, like a person who doesn't know how to monetize his app or game, to an absolute expert, right? Like the best in class,
So,
like
Ashish, sorry,
kind of guy.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to make this more succinct.
Yeah.
App developers are using you to get more customers.
App developers are using us to monetize better using ads.
Oh, what's going on there, YouTube? Good to see you guys. Now imagine this. You love watching these interviews with SaaS founders, but imagine if we took all of the valuation data out from over 2,807 interviews I've done manually. Saves you a lot of time. Well, we've done this. We've built it into the beautiful interface inside of FounderPath. Check this out. I'll show you how you can access this in a second, but you log in, you connect your Stripe account, you see your valuation real time, you can see what it changed over the past 88 days, and even set goals for valuation this year. Now, the secret to valuation is there's many different ways to value a SaaS business. So the reason you're going to see 3 or 4 different valuations inside of your FounderPath dashboard, this is all free by the way, is because depending on who's doing the buying of your SaaS company, you're going to get a different valuation. A VC is going to pay a different valuation. Private equity firm is different. If you're going to do a minority sale, that's different. And if you sell the whole business, that's a different valuation. You can see all those when I hover over here. Right, so the teal is what a VC would pay, yellow is what private equity, and red is if you sold the whole thing outright. Now, what's cool about this is not built off random data. Again, you guys hear these interviews on YouTube. All these data are built from real-time valuation data points founders share with us on the show. So traction, 1.2 million, seed round, 3.7 raise, they sold 22% of their business. Go in here and filter by the event. Maybe you only want to see companies that have sold the whole business. Well, here are a bunch that have been acquired, the valuation and the multiple. Maybe you're going out right now and you're raising your seed round. Well, go in here and look at all this recent seed deals that went down, what they raised, what valuation they raised at, and what percent that they sold. There's never been a larger data set of SaaS valuations than what you can get now inside of FounderPath, and we're thrilled to bring it to you. All right, we're going to go back to the YouTube video here in a second, but if you want to check this tool out, if you want to jump in and sign up, you can check it out for free to get your valuation at this link, founderpath.com/products/valuations. Or if you go to founderpath.com and hover over products, click on get your valuation here and go ahead and sign up to give it a whirl. Again, all that valuation data live right inside the platform. I hope to see you there. All right, let's jump back into the interview. Okay, so you're a marketplace. You've got to get content creators like app developers and then Procter & Gamble that wants to sell their toothpaste.
So what we're doing actually, Nathan, is ad networks at the marketplace, like you said. So like an ad mob, for example, is a marketplace that connects Procter & Gamble to a app developer, like let's say a Candy Crush, for example.
Yep.
We are building on top of the marketplaces. We're not disrupting the marketplace itself. We're saying the marketplaces aren't able to fulfill the knowledge gap between the 2 million developers that use the marketplace and how they use the marketplace, right? So they're suboptimally.
So who's paying you though? The developer in the marketplace or the marketplace themselves?
The developer pays us. The marketplaces always have an interest in what we're doing. So we have a partnership with Google. We're trying to build one with Iron Source and AppLovin. They're very interested because the more we help their end customer optimize, they make more money, right?
So you're helping new game developer X create more ad inventory, get a higher CPC, get a higher click-through rate on the marketplace.
Absolutely, bang on. So there are 4 or 5 key metrics. We help them achieve those better.
And name the 5, just list them real quick, the 5 metrics.
Okay, so straight off, you start with the number of ad requests. That's totally dependent on your traffic. So
yep, what's the second?
The second is your match rate. How many requests you send, but how much did you get filled in your inventory?
The match rate.
The match rate. The next is your show rate. How many ads did you actually show? Most people don't realize there's a big gap, like 30-40% between ads you show and ads you fill, right? And then is your CPC. How much is the advertiser actually paying you for a click on the ad, right? And how many clicks are you getting?
And on average, what are developers paying you to use your technology?
So we work on an entirely revenue share based model. Anywhere between 8 to 12% is what we charge of the entire ad revenue that the developer makes, right?
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So it's an ad rev mod. It's a transaction based
Yeah,
model. You're taking a take rate of
I
8 to
don't want to touch
12%.
on.
What is the
Yeah.
what is the how many developers right now have made at least $1 through your platform?
So currently, we've helped 1,400 apps and games make more money than they were before through our platform. But that's split across about 320 unique developers, right? Because one
Eh,
developer makes multiple games and multiple apps.
Yep. That makes tons of sense. Okay, and what's the right question? I just am not quite sure the right question to ask here, but how do we measure if they're putting a large volume through you or not? Is it just GMV?
Yeah, I think GMV is one way to look at it. That's probably the best way to look at it, right? In the ad world, it's called ad impressions. So the number of ad impressions that flow through your platform, we have a self-serve dashboard. So for example, last year, 2022, Jan to December, we touched about 10 billion ad impressions,
Mhm.
which is a very large number, but like it's not that large in the ad world,
Mhm.
right? So we want to definitely grow like 50x on that.
Well, of the 10 billion ad impressions that you help these 1,400 apps optimize across these 320 unique developers, what does that mean in terms of dollars, right? An ad impression is one thing, but is that $100,000, a billion of dollars going through your platform?
Yeah, it's a mix because CPCs determine the cost of an impression or the value of an impression,
Of course.
and CPCs vary from US to India. So India will be on the lower end and US will be high. Blended, maybe you can look at like maybe $3 to $4 is what that means, right? So if you're doing like about 10 billion, you might be making a GMV of 20 to 30 million dollars. Ballpark, just ballpark.
Yeah. And sorry, the math you're doing there is you're taking 10 billion ad impressions and you're assuming a click through rate, and then you're assuming a $3 cost per click.
It works a bit different in the ad world. So it's calculated using a metric called CPM. CPM is simply 10
Okay.
billion divided by 1,000 into $3. So yeah,
So you're using a $20 C, or what is the CPM you're using?
$3 to $4. So
Ah,
10 billion divided by 1,000 into 3 to 4.
I see. Yeah, three. So it's not $3 CPC, it's $3 CPM.
Okay, yeah, exactly. The CPC will
I
be like much lower, maybe 1/15 or 1/16 of that.
I see. Okay, so just to make this all very clear and concise, you've got 1,400 apps that have used you across 320 unique developers over the past 12 months. Basically, last year you tested 10 billion ad impressions, generating somewhere around 20 million bucks of GMV for these 320 unique developers, of which you keep 8 to 10% of that 20 million.
Bang on. Yeah,
Very cool.
that's
Okay,
up.
very cool. Tell me more about your team. How many folks are full time?
So we have about 52 full-time folks. About 20% of our team is tech, about 3 to 4 folks in product, and the rest are just in BD. BD is about another 15% of our team, and the rest is spread across finance, HR, support, things like that.
Yep. And how do you know, when a new developer signs up for your platform, talk to me about getting them activated, right? What do you know they have to do in the first 7 days? Otherwise, they're going to churn. You're going to lose them.
Yeah, it's a great question. So our customer is a very impatient customer. You need to increase their revenue in the first 14 days. If you don't do it, the customer's gone. He or she's gone to someone else, or they've disregarded your platform. So we've got to do two things really well. We've got to make the integration less than 30 minutes to our
Mhm.
platform, right? Currently, it's 5 minutes. So we kind of got there. The second thing is we've got to make sure that the developer sees at least 10% revenue increment in the first 10 days of doing work with us. Otherwise, we're out of the business. We have no chance to stay.
Interesting. That makes a lot of sense. Now, talk to me a bit about growth, right? If you're taking 8 to 10% to 20 million GMV today, which is about a 2 million run rate, where are you exactly 1 year ago? Do you remember?
I think 1 year ago we were at half of this,
Oh, wow.
but with a smaller team. And we've invested in the team, especially in tech. Last 6 months has gone into investing in tech. We've got a solid product roadmap. So I think there was a lot of focus on business. We were more service oriented, like I said. The last 6 months, we've also done really good work on GTM and going international. One of the challenges being an Indian sort of company is
Are you
the
based in
market.
India right now? Chennai,
I'm based
Bangalore?
in India. I'm based in India in Delhi. Bangalore is known as
Ah,
the Silicon Valley of India, but I'm in Delhi. Delhi is not far behind. And the company's headquartered in Dubai. We're completely remote, but there's always a challenge for SaaS companies in India to capture US and Europe and China and Japan. These are the big markets, the big revenue value markets for us, right? I think we've done well in the last 6 months in capturing, especially Europe and penetrating like parts of East Asia, which are more value.
Mm-hmm. And take me back to that first year. Do you remember what total revenue was in 2021?
Whirlwind, I think it was like less than 500,000.
And that was
It was
mostly
very
services,
volatile.
right?
It was very volatile, right? It was very volatile. And, this year is going to be bad for ad spends in general, macroeconomic factors. But we're particularly excited about this year because publishers or app developers will struggle with making more revenue, which is where companies like ours come in and kind of say, okay, even if we can help you make 10% more, we're extremely valuable in a recessionary climate, right? So I think this year is going to be a very, very pivotal year for us for two reasons. One, the product, and second, just going international.
Yep. Very interesting. Last question here. How are you signing up customers? What's the growth strategy?
We're being very hacky. We've used a lot of email marketing. We've used a lot of LinkedIn. We've used a lot of tools for free on the net. Like I said, everything.
What's your favorite free tool to use?
A Chrome extension that lets you find people's LinkedIn email ID.
What's it called?
Limit, of course. There are several, so I don't want to name one, but like we use Signal Hire, we use LGM, we've used a bunch of these. And they just let you find the right POC, the right decision maker for us. And we can just pitch him or her through an email straight away.
Very cool. All right, Ashish, on that note, let's wrap up here with the famous five. Number one, favorite book.
Favorite book, Harry Potter.
How you work?
90% strategy, 10% execution.
No. What was the name of the book?
Oh, Harry Potter. Harry Potter, like the.
Oh, Harry Potter. Sorry, favorite business book.
Oh, favorite business book. Okay. The one from Naval Ravikant. I forget the name of the book.
Yeah, that's a good one. His almanac.
Yeah.
Okay, number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
I follow you quite a bit, to be honest, and I'm not just saying that.
Oh God, I'm so sorry. So sorry for that.
No, because look, I think two things, right? SaaS is hot in India, and also because I think what you guys are doing in terms of funding SaaS is really interesting. So I've been following you on LinkedIn quite a bit and your podcast as well. So I would say right now, top of mind you. But if I had to pick one person who I followed, it was the Google India CEO from 2014 to 2020, which was Rajan.
Yep. Number three, what's your favorite online tool for building app product?
Interesting. I think LinkedIn for sure.
Number four, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
9.
Okay. And what's your situation? Married, single, kids?
Married. Recently married.
Any kids?
No kids yet.
Not yet.
Married about a year back.
And how old are you?
I'm 34.
34. Last question, Ashish. Something you wish you knew when you were 20.
Fall forward. Great quote from Denzel Washington, right? I think persistence is important. Falling forward is kind of embodies that in a good, in an articulate manner.
Guys, launched in 2021. Today, he helps over 320 individual developers monetize their 1,400 games. He helped them process $20 to $30 million of ad revenue over the past 12 months, of which he keeps 8 to 12%. So call it a $2 million run rate for the business. That's up over 100% year over year since last year. And they're bootstrapped, which we love. He's targeting $1 million in revenue per employee, which we certainly hope he hits. The company is called appbroda.com. Ashish, thanks for taking us to the top.
Thanks so much, Nathan. Thanks for this opportunity.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.